everyone, you're listening to the Tea with Tanya podcast, and I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose. I'm a public health professional by day and your average tea-loving millennial and content creator by night. My goal for this podcast is to share public health stories, self-love and wellness tips to educate and empower and to promote positive living. This podcast is here to serve you. Join me in the tea tasting room to see what I have brewing for you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Tea with Tanya podcast. I'm your host Tanya. As you know, here we talk about self-love, personal development, and of course sharing our public health stories, talking about reproductive health, maternal health, all that good stuff. Definitely want to make sure that we are out here being the best versions of ourselves. And I'm joined by a very special guest. I know you guys, every time you probably see a guest is on this podcast, you're probably going to say, Tanya's going to say a very special guest. I'm like, like I always say, every time I have a guest on this podcast, it is special to me because people are taking time out of their busy schedules to come and sit and have a chat with me for a few minutes. So definitely, yes, this guest is special. But I will say this guest is super special because this is her, I think, third time on this podcast. And every time she comes on this podcast, guys, I figured you guys love her because the ratings are always higher than any other episode. I'm not just saying that because she's sitting in front of me, well, virtually that is, but it is the truth. You guys seem to love her, so I'm happy to have her on the podcast. She's someone that I'm proud to say is a friend of mine. We don't talk every day. Sometimes some friendships, you don't have to talk every day for us to maintain a friendship, and we'll talk about that later. But definitely, she's someone that when we do talk, we got to make sure either the phone battery is charged up fully or we have the chargers nearby because we will talk until the battery die, literally. Okay, we've had 3-4 hour conversations nonstop, guys. Sometimes you're on the phone with someone and you take a break to go do what you're doing. We literally talk nonstop. But I promise you, this episode will be short-ish. We're not gonna bore you or speak too long to you guys, definitely. But I am very excited to have my guest, Michele. Welcome to the Tea with Tanya podcast, darling.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy
Guys,
to.
let me just say, first of all, before she continues, Sissy's over here slaying me. The face is beat to the gods. The hair is laid. I mean, she's just over here glowing. I mean, do I need to know something, honey? She's over here glowing, guys, while I'm here with my little head wrap, little t-shirt, looking like, regular smuggler girl. But you know what, guys? I have actually been working from home today, so I get that excuse. And plus, Michele, she's been recording and vlogging and doing all this good stuff for us because I am also a subscriber. So definitely she's been putting together some good content for us. But anyway, Michele, welcome to the Tea with Tanya podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. And yes, I'm only dolled up because I got a day off today and I decided to use it and be productive and vlog and record for my subbies. So, and a video that Tanya has been asking me to do and do it in a particular way. So, I'm excited to say that I am here. I made it here. I'm so happy. And let's get into it.
Yes, guys. So when you see that video, whenever that video drops, just send me a thank you when you see that video because I've been harassing her daily or very often for her to record this particular video. But yes, guys, so on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about work-life balance. And the reason why I decided to talk about this topic with Michele is because, like I said, we both have busy 9 to 5. She's a content creator. Me, I'm the CEO of a nonprofit organization. Shout out to Scrub Life Kids. I'm also the host of this podcast. And guys, it's a one-man show over here. It's not, I don't have a team. I don't have a PR editor. It's a one-man show over here with this podcast. I'm also a blogger. I am also a doula. Just out here trying to create some good change in today's community. So definitely want to talk about how we balance life, if there even is something such as balance, to be honest, because sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I found the balance, and then the next day is like, okay, what even is balance? So we're definitely here as two, young millennials here talking about how we achieve some level of work-life balance, guys. However we may achieve it, I want to point this out here, may not be how you achieve it, but we can only share our experience as it relates to finding the balance between working on 9 to 5, being content creators, being family oriented and just trying to, of course, evolve and grow in our lives. So definitely we will be talking about it. And of course, guys, be sure and put this here now to like, subscribe, leave a review on the podcast. Give your girl some numbers here. I forgot the number, but I'm almost, I think, at least 3K downloads, guys. I'm trying to get to 5 by the end of the year. I think it can happen before that if you guys continue to share, but definitely I'm just going to be realistic and say the end of the year because I don't know when you will hear this episode. So let me just say the end of the year just in case. We're recording this in June. Hopefully we'll have this out by this summer, but definitely make sure you like and share. And of course, I'll put Michelle's information in the description box below. But yes, Michele, let's get into today's episode.
All right, let's get into it.
When you hear about work-life balance, I feel like, we always say, oh, you got to find balance. You got to do this. You got to do that. Manage your time wisely. What is work-life balance? What does it mean to you? Like, what does it look like? Or is it even a thing?
It's so weird because I just did a Q&A on Instagram where I asked some of my followers on Instagram. I was doing a basically hair video and I didn't want it to be boring. If you are a subscriber, you would know I don't like my hair videos to be boring because it's the same thing you do all the time, right? I asked my subscribers to send me some questions that they think, and that was one of the questions or topics that my subscriber indicated she wanted to hear about.
Right.
She wanted to hear about work-life balance, and I did try to answer that in my chit chat. But when you're doing a chit chat, it kind of gets difficult doing stuff and then doing the chit chat. But anyways, I'm rambling. But she asked me about work-life balance, and that was something that she really had me thinking. And to go to answer her question, I was just like, okay, do I even really have work-life balance?
Mhm.
I thought about it. I thought I did because I also do content, as Tanya would have told you guys. And I thought that I had some sort of work-life balance in balancing my content, still hanging out with friends, still texting my friends back in real time, still trying to talk to my family and my mom every day, just to have that balance. And I realized that I kind of sort of don't because the job that I do, my work, it's like to me 24 hours. And one of the things that I literally told my boss the other day, was my boss or one of my colleagues, I don't remember who it was, but I told him I'm going to take my email off my phone. Happens is once I get my work email comes in at all sorts of odd hours in the night. People call you at all sorts of odd hours. So I feel like I don't have the work-life balance that I should have. I only have a small aspect of it. I will say on the weekends, I do take my weekends to record. When I leave work on a Friday, I will try to record, or I will just record on a Saturday and Sunday, and then try to edit during the week as some sort of debugging or detoxing of my work life, if that makes sense. And that's something that I said I'm going to work on in 2022. So this is a perfect topic for me to talk about because I have implemented a lot of things that I think have been helping me in really just balancing out my life and letting everything just be balanced.
It's funny you mentioned about, taking your work emails off of your phone. For me, I have a work phone. So I avoided having to put that on my personal phone. But then these people, they gave me a work phone, which is fine. It's convenient at times. But when you were saying that about, emails coming in at all sorts of hours at night, I thought about boundaries. So when we talk about work-life balance now, we want to make sure that we are establishing boundaries, guys. And I'm not going to be here because, guys, I am not the boundary queen. Like, I am still trying to figure out the true definition of setting boundaries. If I can be honest here, I've been doing a good job. Michele knows this, but at the same time, I've been just pushing the boundaries back daily. So now, let me just push it back today, to accommodate this person. And then before you know it, it's been a month, 2 months, and we just developed this bad habit in the sense that we didn't really want to have. So for instance, for me, I have my work phone, but when I clock out at 5 o'clock, I'm putting that phone in another room. I don't want to see that phone, but then sometimes I hear it going off. I'm coming, let me check this email, let me respond to whatever messages are coming into that phone. But I feel like for me, like the other day, like Michele would have mentioned, I had to take a day off from work. I hate, guys, first of all. I'm the worker that I don't take time off unless I have to, or I don't call out from work, put it that way, because I will take time off if I need to. I am not the call out from work type of Michele. It's like she's giving that side eye look. I am not the worker that calls out from work. I am not the worker that is late to work. If I'm going to be 5 minutes late, I almost lose my mind just for being 5 minutes late. Like, I like to be punctual and I like to be present at all time. And I've been this way since I've been in school. Like, my dad always instilled in us, to be at school or be on time. Don't be tardy. So I guess sometimes back then we were a little bit upset. Like, oh, why we got to get up early? Why we got to be here early? But as you get older now, you develop these habits. And I remember taking off that one day. I was a bit upset I had to do that. But, life comes first, really and truly. And I found myself still working. I legitimately was working from my phone. And I'm like, you took an entire day off. Why are you still working from your phone? Why are you still responding to emails when they know as well that, you took the time off? And even sometimes, like you would have said, Michelle, even working after the actual working hours, trying to make sure everything is fine. It feels good because, my manager will probably say, oh, good job, Tanya. Oh, I appreciate you. You hear these things, but at some point in time, where is the work-life balance? Because I am going to sleep thinking about work. No,
Yes, that's the worst.
I'll be honest, guys. Like, this is my first job that I've had that I can actually say I actually love. So maybe there may be some good thing for me going to sleep with work on my mind. But at the same time, like I recorded an episode a few weeks ago, about a week ago before our episode, Michelle, and we were talking about the importance of rest. And
Yeah,
sometimes learning to turn your brain off, which, like I was telling the guest, Marissa, I said, I don't even know. That's the thing. For me, guys, like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about my regular 9 to 5 because I love it. So I'm invested, right? That's one. Two, like Michelle told you guys, or I think I said it too, I'm the CEO and founder of a nonprofit organization. We are still in the startup phase. So, there's so many things you have to do. Let me just
yeah,
sidebar real quick, guys. I'm probably rambling, but let me just say, people, they don't be showing you the ins and out, or the sweat and the tears and the sleepless nights that you have to go through when you're actually building something from the scratch, guys. The investment you have to make, even though you're a nonprofit organization. And I literally go to sleep every day with my nonprofit, this podcast, and my personal brand, as far as my blog and these things on my mind. So at one point, when are we resting? So again,
yeah,
like I said, as far as work-life balance, for me, I'm home. It's like I'm always in work mode. Put it this way.
yeah.
I'm always
I
in
know.
work mode, so I don't even know if I have a work-life balance as far as it relates to, oh, this is what you're going to do for self-care, what you're going to do for yourself. Because again, I'm not necessarily complaining, but sometimes there are some days where I just want to just watch my TV and relax. I know I'm picking the phone up. Let me check this email. Let me respond to this email. Or some
Yeah,
idea comes to my mind. And it's just like, at what point do I turn off? Not in a sense working then, because even though again it's my nonprofit, it's my podcast, but it's still work, guys. Even though you're having fun, like you, Michelle, you can relate. You're a content creator. You're creating these YouTube videos. Even
yeah.
though you're having fun, it's still work, and I need people to
It is.
understand that.
Yeah,
You got to do all these
yes,
things.
yes. And I think you have to be very mindful. That is something that I try to pride myself in. I don't know if pride myself in is the phrase or the word, but that's something that I am very mindful of. So with vlogging, because I do YouTube for those of you who don't know, and with YouTube, I'm a lifestyle content creator. And a lifestyle content creator, it sounds like it's an easy thing, sounds vlog your life away. But with that, you have to set boundaries because you will tend to overshare. You will tend to give a lot of information out there more than you need. And you also tend to share moments that you should really be taken in without a camera out. So that is something that as a human being, even in just my daily life, because I do content creating and it's on a more of a lifestyle level, I want to walk with my camera everywhere because I want to connect with my subscribers. And to be honest, when you start creating content, you want to share with your subscribers, especially if you have good subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
supportive subscribers. You always want to share, but you have to set that boundary. Just like work, you have to set that boundary where you're like, you know what, I'm going to record up until this minute. But after this, I'm going to just live and have a good time and be in the moment instead of recording the moment. And for people who watch content, like I'm going to say YouTube because that's what my forte is. And
Right.
guys, when we record content, we are no longer in the moment of that content. Same thing, like if I'm at work and I'm at work and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to film? I have a deadline to meet, or companies reach out, oh, where is my hair video? We sent this to you a long time. And you're like, okay, how am I going to balance this? Because I have work, I have gym, I have other things that's going on in my personal life that's not on the internet and that's not work related. So it's sometimes so hard in reference to setting boundaries and really being in the moment. And I think we just have to be mindful. So what I normally do, Tanya, is like if I catch myself, and that is where like self reflection and being
Mm-hmm.
mindful with your surroundings and how things are. You see, if I catch myself on a day off working for 4 hours, I'm like, okay, I put in 4 hours on my day. Let me go and have a drink now. Let
Mm.
me cut off at a particular point to enjoy the rest of what I have. Because work tends to overwhelm you and it
Oh
comes at you
yes.
fast. And by the time you check, listen, it's already 2 to 3 hours. I said, okay, I'm just gonna work for 1 hour on my day off. And I end up at 6 o'clock, exhausted, haven't had anything, and I have to go to the gym. So I think it's just being mindful and, as you say, setting boundaries. And boundaries is something that is very hard because we spoil our employer. Because your employer is sending you an email, and the moment you answer that email, you're gonna get
A follow-up email, and then before you know it, you end up doing something that you weren't supposed to even be doing when
yeah,
before you open that email, and they'll get you, and then for them it benefits them because oh, she's such a good worker. But I think, as you say, it's creating that boundaries, and I think someone once told me, it might have been you, who knows, when we were like, Tanya, you have to create your boundaries and keep it there, because I think it was probably was you, yes. I was like, oh, I'm
yeah,
creating this boundary with this person or with that person. Then before you know it, guys, like I said, I keep pushing that boundary back. Like if you guys are
yeah,
familiar with the sport cricket, sometimes you see the ball go down to the boundary. That's like what 4 runs, and then sometimes you see like when they're there, the boundary, the little rope around the field gets pushed back. Like that's me. I'm literally pushing the boundary back sometimes
yeah,
because again, I wouldn't say necessarily I'm a people pleaser, but it's like what, wow, something needs to be done or happen right away.
yeah.
But like I said, guys, I've been doing better with that as far as setting the boundaries as it relates to work
I,
life balance because
but I know sometimes people think of being a people pleaser is like a disadvantage. Like people make it seem like it's a bad
right.
thing. It's not a bad thing if you are doing it for the right people and for
Mm,
that is going to appreciate and they are going to be lenient. Let's say you really are not in the mood. Like, let's say you really end up having a bad day and they realize, she can't focus, let's send her home.
right.
Or if it is that this person worked until 6 o'clock, you could say, hey, we noticed you work until 6 o'clock. How about you come in at around 9 o'clock? Or, I think sometimes it's who you're pleasing
Right.
and what you're getting back from the people that you're pleasing, because sometimes we're pleasing the wrong people because we're not getting anything back from it, even in our
And
jobs.
then something it's not even about. I feel like for me, it's not even about like getting something back. Because I used to think like, oh, here I am doing ABC for this person or that person or this employee or this employee, whatever the case may be. And it's like, what is it benefiting me? But I was having a conversation with someone one day, and they were like, what? Think about it. They were like, do what's right, and I got irritated. I was like, what do you mean do what's right? Like I got so heated, guys, because like, what do you mean? Of course I'm gonna do what's right, but they were basically saying that if you're going to do something and your heart is not in it and you're going to be like overwhelmed or you're going to be miserable about doing said thing, then maybe it's not the
Yeah.
right thing to do in that moment. And then, of course, that comes from setting boundaries as well. Because we're like, oh, yeah, what? Michelle, I don't feel like doing this for Michelle right now, but what? Oh, let me just do it. But then in the back of your mind, you're still complaining because it's like it's not something that your heart wanted to do. We know you don't do that, honey. Me and the other guy, she's been trying to teach me, okay?
I don't do that, guys. I do not do that. If my heart is not in doing something, I'm not going to do it because I do not want to do something out of complaining, doing it
Right,
for someone.
right.
See, when I do that, when I did that in the past, it's not genuine.
It's not genuine and it's not a good feeling. And even after you complete it now, you still feel bad. Speaking from experience from the past, because it's like, wow, look at how you got prior to doing it. I know you did it now. You kind of somewhat felt better because you know what, that person is okay with you doing these
Yeah.
things. So definitely want to make sure we're trying to set these boundaries and of course find that balance. Because again, I was reading something or I was listening to a Breakfast Club interview with Pastor Touré Roberts, and I don't have that quote because I was like, that was so profound. He was like, sometimes we think balance needs to be, oh, let me do ABC by this time. Or sometimes it's not. It's we can create the balance in whatever space we're in sometimes. And balance could look like, I don't know, but let me segue here, guys, and ask Michelle, like, what does balance look like for you in an ideal world?
In an ideal world, in my world, which I'm creating that, I do not have it down pat. I will not lie. I'm not the head who hunter on work balance, but balance for me is completing all of my tasks in the days that I have,
Right,
going to the gym, getting the time in, making time to do my own personal things, content creating in an allotted time, and sleeping for
mm.
however long I want. That's what my balance looks like. Self care and sleep is a part of my self care.
Mm-hmm.
So, setting boundaries and not doing anything that I don't want to do, especially if I'm overly exhausted. That is what my balance looks like. Being able to go out and have fun with people and have fun with my friends and not have to think, oh, I have this deadline to meet,
Right.
or oh, I have to record this because this content needs to be up. Sometimes everything is not shareable. You're not going to get everything, you're not going to capture everything. And I think life is so short now that we really need to live in the moment. So that is what an ideal balance looks like to me. I don't know if it's an ideal answer, but that is what an ideal balance looks like to me, being able to do everything that I want to do in the time that I
And it
want
at
to
least
do it.
brings you some level of peace. I think that's
And it brings
important.
and satisfaction.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think for me, is I used to complain about, oh, I have to commute so far from work and home, and now, guys, are literally 5 minutes away from where I work. I'm not sure that's a good or bad thing yet. I'm still deciding that, but it's a good thing on gas because gas prices are high now. But as far as having the discipline, I think balance to me is having the discipline to do whatever I say I'm going to do, or commitment rather. Because sometimes I feel like I say I'm going to do something, but I don't always
Mhm.
follow through or commit 100%. And that to me makes me feel off balance, or it stresses me out, to be honest. And then that just disrupts the whole work life balance. And like I said, guys, I live 5 minutes away now, so I have no reasons to not do any other thing I say I'm going to do. Unlike you, Michelle, balance to me is getting everything done for my to-do list. And then again, when I say everything, let me back up, because sometimes you just don't get everything done that's on your to-do list. So I
No,
want to point it out, guys. When you're hearing us speak, we're talking about getting everything done on our to-do list. Some days you're just not gonna have everything done, and that's when you give yourself grace, because it's like life happens. And I feel like sometimes we're in a world where, oh, let's create our to-do list, this long to-do list, and let's just try to accomplish everything by 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. And then when it doesn't happen now, in the past, for me, I get upset or feel like a failure or get disappointed in myself. It's just like, no, life happens. It wasn't like you were just out here idling. Sometimes, guys, I've done it in the past, and to be honest here. As we're growing, we're getting older. So I think
yeah,
balance to me is being able to come home or turn the computer down for my 9 to 5 whenever I'm working from home. Being able to create
yeah,
a nice meal,
yeah,
eating like healthy, balanced meals.
yeah.
Here we go, but the word balance again. They talk about make sure you're eating your greens, make sure you're eating the rainbow. They say make sure you're eating the color wheel on your
Rainbow
plate.
colors of the
Right.
rainbow.
So
Yeah,
balance to me is being able to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, however that may look, whatever that may be. But for me, I'm trying to do the healthy thing in life. Because again, like Michelle would have mentioned, health is wealth. Okay, so definitely balance
yeah.
to me is being able to have 3 balanced meals a day. It doesn't always happen, but you know what, again, that's when we extend grace. Is being able to work out, because I feel like for me right now, the overall meaning for me with balance is health and wellness, guys, because at
Yeah,
the end of the day, if we're not in the best shape or we're not as healthy as we want to be, then how are we going to be here to enjoy time with our family and friends and accomplish some of these goals? So for right now, balance is doing things in a small time frame, getting my to-do list accomplished. I'm gonna say weekly, because instead of saying daily, that's sometimes too much pressure for me. But just taking
yeah,
small actionable steps to complete my to-do list, eating healthy,
yeah,
making the time to actually work out so I can feel good for myself. And of course, finding time to work on my different ventures, guys, because like I said earlier,
yeah.
I do them more. So but what I've been doing these days, Michelle, is I've been like, okay, now when I get off work at 5, guys, between let's say 6 and 7, I dedicate like an hour or two to a
You're
venture. Like one day it'll
and
be 2 hours worth of nonprofit work. Sometimes it ends up being 3, 4, but it's okay. I don't necessarily feel burdened with doing that, because again, I am having fun, all these ideas, everything. But I try to dedicate at least an hour or two to something that I love. As far as the podcast, okay, I'm recording this episode now. It's not going to be edited today. Maybe tomorrow I say, no, let me dedicate an hour to editing this podcast, getting the transcripts, getting everything together, so that when I'm scheduling it now, it's already done. And I think the key is for us to not be overwhelmed with life, because life is pretty overwhelming, especially in these day and
yeah,
age.
and life comes at us
Okay?
fast.
Faster than you saying
It,
boat, guys, okay?
one of the things I think though that will allow us to feel overwhelmed is a lot of times as humans we procrastinate a lot, and procrastination is the devil. Like let me tell you, if you have something to do it,
Listen.
like even in your work life, because even in work itself, you need to have that work balance.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, especially if you have certain types of jobs and certain types of roles, it gets
Mm-hmm.
heavy and you have to come to a point in your life. I think balance is the word here. Balance in your personal life, balance in any life that you have. And in all of that, if you're procrastinating and if you're a procrastinator,
Mm-hmm.
you are never going to get anything done. And then you're going to just have all of these things piling up, whether it's in your personal life, in your work life, or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're just always going to feel stressed and overwhelmed, which, like you said, brings on lack of good
Lack
eating,
of sleep.
lack of sleep. And guys, when it comes to me, I need my sleep. If I don't get my sleep, I am the most miserable person around. It's I am gonna be miserable, or I'm gonna be laughing for no reason.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't get funny because it's not funny. But I think procrastination is something that does not allow us to have a lot of room to have any balance in our lives, because we procrastinate so much. And then when it comes down to that ticking point of, let's say, having something to submit or having create, we do that in the last minute and then we get overwhelmed. When, like you say, you are doing a podcast now with me and you are going to slowly edit that podcast over a period of time, and it allows you to get more done in your day or in your week, because you have now decided to balance that out, and that's a part of balancing stuff. So like content creating, and a lot of people ask me, how do you content create and work?
Right.
It's tough, and there's a lot of sacrifices that you have to make, but I think I've found a good medium where I have that balance. I record on weekends are for me to record. I do not record all day. I record 1 to 2 videos on a weekend, and I edit them little by
Right.
little. When you're doing weekly vlogs, for instance, you edit the vlog as the vlog is going, because that makes it easier. And guys, trust me, as content creators, there is hours of footage, like hours, that you have to cut down into a 30-minute
Okay.
video or a 15-minute video or a 15-minute podcast. It's the same thing with podcasting. So I find the right elements to put together. It's a lot of work that goes into content creating. Anything that you're doing in life, any project that you're going to put yourself on or you're going to venture into, it is going to take time. And procrastinating is not going to give you that work-life balance
And
that
I'm
you want.
I'm I'm happy you mentioned procrastinating, because I remember when I was younger, you're in college and you have a paper to write and you just not doing what you're supposed to do. Oh, let me wait until the appointed time. The paper's due 11:59. Let me start writing at 7 p.m. And sometimes, you get that rush or that thrill of, oh yeah, you know what? Let me type this 5 to 7 page paper and I'm submitting at 11:57, 2 minutes before the deadline. And then you're like, wow, oh wow, I can do it. I got this. I can do it. And then the next time again, you keep doing it because again, that thrill of procrastinating, but then at the same time getting it done. But as we're getting older, guys, let me tell you, this procrastinating brings along stress, at least for me, honey. Okay, because I hate when I put off something that I could have done the day I said I was going to do it. And like I said, sometimes things happen, but I know for a fact they did. I'm like, let me just do this tomorrow because I don't want to do anything, which is also okay, but then it just brings on, it keeps piling up. Then you're supposed to do this yesterday, then you put it off, then today's task is top with yesterday's task, and then it's like, when do you get to even complete this task on Monday? You're at Thursday trying to figure out, oh boy, what's going to happen now? Not wait on Thursday, I didn't do Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And it's the same thing at work as well. You want to make sure that you are, like for me now, when I go into the office, sometimes, again, anything can happen on any given day, but I try to plan what I'm going to do when I get into the office the night before.
I do that too. Before I leave. Sometimes when I come home after the gym and I sit down and I know I have a heavy workload, I will sit down and I would say, okay, I can knock this off in an hour. I can knock this off in half an hour. This is just a review. I plan out my days, my work days, because I need to be productive in order for me to be able to do anything outside of my job, to always be on it. And so procrastination is not a thing that I said I would want to do. I used to procrastinate as well a lot, and it doesn't give me any good results, even with content creating. When I take my time to produce my content, I love it better than when I'm rushing through my content. Like, no, I think with work-life balance, or trying to have a balance in life, because I think we've gone to not having just that balance in life, you have to not procrastinate in anything that you're doing.
It's funny you said that, because I found this article on betterup.com, and there were like 12 tips, and of course we'll chime in and you can probably share some of the tips, which we kind of did before, but we can add some more. It says 12 tips to improve your work-life balance, and they had some for some managers too. And basically what we just mentioned, we just say plan ahead. It says plan ahead to combine work activities with leisure, social, or fitness activities. And like we would have mentioned earlier, guys, we said, what balance to us means being able to have a balanced diet, being able, like Michelle would have mentioned, going out to, have a drink or, socialize with some of her colleagues or friends. And definitely,
And I'm not trying to cut Tanya off, but I love to have a drink. I love to have a drink on the weekends. I love to have a drink after I leave the gym and I'm just winding down my night. I love when my night is not filled with a bunch of activities. I love to go to bed feeling feeling at
Peace.
peace.
Yes, yes, yes.
I sleep way better.
Yeah, that is true. And then and that's the same thing for me too, because there's something like I said, my brain works a mile per minute, guys. And sometimes it can become frustrating with myself because it's like, oh wow, you know what, you need to slow your brain down. And then no, I just said that. Number 2 in this list says embrace the way your brain works. That's crazy. It says use productivity hacks, and then it mentioned that Pomodoro timer app to work in short focus bursts. But I'm gonna say this about this, not necessarily the app, but those timers on the phone. Like I had this conversation probably with myself in the shower, because guys, the bathroom is where I get most of my thoughts. So all the ideas that you see me out here with the nonprofit and the podcast, it happens in the bathroom because that's where I'm most creative. Everything,
Everything.
everything happens in the bathroom for me. But I find that when you have these timer apps on your phone, for me, it kind of still takes away from my productivity because I'm wanting to pick the phone up because it's right there. And so, oh, let me see who's texting me. Oh, let me see what's going on Instagram. And before you know it, the 25 minutes have gone by and I have not even typed one thing or even write one thing or whatever I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I found this. I haven't bought it yet, but I found this thing on Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. I'm going to put that link and you guys are going to go buy it and then you guys are going to go. But definitely, it's like a time block, but you actually physically see it. So it's no phone. It lights up at I think each 20-minute intervals. So definitely, guys, you want to make sure again if the apps on the phone works for you, that's fine. If you have that discipline, I'm not there, man, discipline yet as it relates to not picking up the phone to do other things besides leaving at the side while I work. But definitely, you want to work in small time blocks. And I think back in the day, I used to do time blocks as far as try to find balance. It doesn't matter what it was with schoolwork, with my 9 to 5, or even with creating content. Okay, let me create this content for about an hour. Sometimes things can run on too, but you want to give yourself time, like we mentioned about that to-do list. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, you want to set a goal
There
so
you
that
go.
you
You said it better. Set a goal so that you can say, okay, you know what? Okay, I was this close to achieving this goal. Let me see at the end of the day. Let me see how I can reflect and improve on tomorrow.
to be honest, one of the things that I was so happy when I got when Apple has upgraded its software was they have implemented focus. And what I did, I have a focus on for when I get into the office. I don't know how they know I'm there, but the moment I get into the office, my phone goes on and my phone is literally on
So
silent.
you don't get
Now that
notifications
does
with
not
that? Guys, let me just
nothing
say,
with
I'm
that.
new to the iPhone life, so please don't be judging me here. But I've seen it though, but I just never used it.
And I like it because when I'm in my zone, I put my AirPods in and I'm listening to music and I don't want to hear. Well, first of all, to be honest with you, I do not have notifications for any but my email.
Oh, I'm not there in life yet.
I decided a long time ago that whatever is on Instagram, whatever is on, well, I'm not on Facebook, but whatever is on Instagram, because Instagram and TikTok and those apps, when you
You
start
cannot
scrolling
stop.
through, you start waste a lot of time. So I decided that even if I post a picture, if anything leaks from my phone to any social media app, I'm sure is a friend would be calling me to tell me, hey, this picture leaked and you need to delete it because I do not have my notifications on. They're on silent. I don't want to see them. I do not want to hear it because I just think that takes away from me focusing. And ever since I take social media breaks, very long breaks off of social
Right.
media. And I think that has helped me to focus more because sometimes you're at work and you're scrolling through when you have a deadline to meet, and then that means I have to work late to meet that deadline. And I'm not
Listen,
doing that.
that has happened to
So
me before. You're right.
so I use Focus, which is on Apple, and sometimes it's not good because if there's an
Right.
emergency, the person would not be able to reach you. So that's the only disadvantage of that app. But what I will say, I look at my phone ever so often. So when I take a coffee break, I look at my phone. When I go get water, I will be on my phone. On lunch, I am on my
Right.
phone as well. When I'm about to leave work, when I know I'm wrapping up, I will check my phone. So, and what you can do with the app too is like my friends and my family, they're able to call me.
Mm,
So if there's an emergency, they'll be able to call me. The people that are most
right.
important will be able to. So it's the other people, random people, if you're
They're gonna
trying to
have to
get me,
wait.
you won't get, because you can customize it, and I really appreciate it. Like you will find yourself at work, or you'll find yourself like on a Saturday. If another thing that I would recommend is not let your phone be the first thing you look at in the
Yep.
mornings. I don't do that anymore. Make set aside some time for breakfast, for journaling, for
Mm-hmm.
not rushing. I do not rush in the mornings. I do not have the time for it. That gives me
So then you
anxiety
just
if I
start
have
your
to.
day is not the right way.
And yeah, you do not start your day off right, and sometimes you're not productive throughout the day because, well, I am not productive throughout the day if I have to rush to get to work in the
Mm-hmm.
mornings, or if I may meet up with traffic, then hey, that's just traffic. Like there's nothing I can do about it. But those are some of the things that I would say. Those are some of the do's in reference to finding a work balance life. I also feel like it's important to take
Mm-hmm.
lunch, to actually take an hour, if you have an hour lunch, to actually take
And be
that lunch and
present.
then be present in the lunch that you're taking. Because I
Yes.
find now lately, I was even telling my colleague the other day, I was like, wait, when last have we really been out to lunch? Like we're at our desk because, of course, of the COVID. Everybody now eats at their
Mm-hmm.
desk. Nobody's in the room. And that takes away from your lunch because you're at your desk. You've been working at your desk, and now you're at your desk eating
Yeah,
and
I was supposed to say
working.
that. I've been, even though I'm taking my lunch, I realized these last at least 2 to 3 weeks, I've been taking my lunch while working. And I'm saying, it just
Working.
dawned on me literally this week. I was like, wow, you have what is lunch? Because sometimes I'll go in the break room to eat, but then I like eating by myself sometimes, or I'll go to lunch with one of my coworkers.
Yeah,
So even when I'm not doing that, I'm in the car eating, and I'm like, wait, the last time I probably went out to lunch, and I didn't even eat out was when we went for was my birthday when she took me to lunch, and we ended up having to come back because we waited so long at the restaurant, so we had to bring the food back. So
yeah,
most times, like Michelle would have mentioned, we're eating lunch at our desk, and then we're tempted to even continue to work because like if I'm here, your brain is telling you, okay, you're supposed to be working because you're behind this computer screen or whatever the case may be. So definitely we want to make sure that we are actually taking lunch. It's summertime now here in the US. Just go outside and get that. Well, you know what? I didn't want to tell you go outside because the sun is just so ridiculously hot. But you get the picture. Go outside and just get some. I can't even say breeze
the
either because is
moment.
breeze even blowing? But just try, get some sunshine, definitely. Get that vitamin D, have that feeling. Even though it's hot sometimes, I like to walk around in the heat a little bit, to be honest, because, it gives you that, some sort, I mean, it can suck your energy too, I'm going to be honest here. But it gives you a different feeling being out in nature because, you're in that office for 8, 9 hours. So you definitely want to make sure that we're capitalizing and definitely taking your lunch when that happened, guys. Because again, we talk about work-life balance. We can't be. We already established that we're thinking about these different things because we're content creators. Some of us are entrepreneurs, whatever the case may be. We're already thinking about these things
Yeah.
even while at work, so that whenever we have that time for lunch, take it. Like I remember my sister would be like, I'll get up early in the morning so I can have my alone time before the kids wake up. Okay, I don't have kids. Michelle doesn't have kids yet either, but it's a situation where, like she said, do
Yeah.
not rush to go to work because I've had mornings when I'm rushing. I'm like, wow, I didn't even get to do what I wanted to do. I had to rush through my
Yeah.
meditation or rush through my journaling, and I don't like that feeling when I have to because it stays on my mind all day. It's like, damn, you could have just waited that little
It
15 minutes to
does.
actually say what you wanted to say in your journal. It pisses me off. So you definitely want
It
to take
does.
that time. I know you say don't let your phone be the first thing you pick up. I'm guilty of that, and let me tell you why. Because the Bible app is on
It's
my
on the phone.
phone. So sometimes when I get up, guys, I'm do my little morning devotions, and then I pick the phone up to read the scripture of the day. What I realize I've been doing now. Once I'm
That's
done reading that, I put the phone down and I pick up maybe probably my
yeah.
journal or whatever. Sometimes I'm reading the book. I said, let me read like 15 pages of this book before it's time for me to actually get up and take a shower, get breakfast going. So you definitely want to give yourself ample time as it relates to finding that balance with the time. We talk about time management a lot, but you definitely have to practice little small actionable steps. I wasn't always like this. No, in the mornings, if I
And I
oversleep, I'll be upset.
Yeah, I wasn't always like that too. And I think you're the one that encouraged me to get into journaling. And I love
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, I am here for it. I have a grateful journal and I have a regular journal, and I grateful journal more than my regular journal because right now, my grateful journal, my life has, I felt improved when I started to. And one of the things that I will say, I do have wake up in the morning and open my app. When I say open your app, I really should have been specific to say social
Yeah,
media.
yeah, yes, definitely.
Social media should not be the first thing because I have a routine. And if I don't get my morning routine down, guys, I do not feel
Mm-hmm.
complete. Uh, my morning routine really helps me through my day. It keeps me zen. It keeps me
Gives you a
calm.
sense of purpose for
Once
the
I
day,
start,
I feel like. Yeah.
once I start my day off right, you can tell me the world of horrible things. I'm just like, okay, cool,
Mm-hmm.
because I already feel. I listened to my morning sermon. I journaled. I told God that
For
I'm so
another day.
grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the another day, and I just feel so good and so complete. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on before we do close out is a lot of times I feel like, well, that's something that I do, but planning a
Hey.
vacation, go somewhere on holiday. And I know Tanya needs this. That's why I'm just into this. Plan a holiday and look forward to that holiday that you're
Mm-hmm.
planning. Go and do something different. And I think all of that is a part of having that work life
Yeah, our life
balance,
kind
you
of be
know?
just all about work. Sometimes you may or may not love your job, but it doesn't matter. You still got to show up, but you want to make sure, as Michelle said, take a holiday. Even if you don't travel to another country, go to a hotel or Airbnb, whatever, for a weekend. It doesn't even have to be, or let the holiday. If you're not in a position to, travel to go anywhere, let the holiday be in your house. But let it be the best. Let your house transform your house into a potential Airbnb. How about that? Rearrange your furniture. You know what? Let me put this couch this way. Let me put the TV this way, and let me stock up on some food. And I'm going to cook me some bomb meals. Go on Pinterest, wherever you go to get your recipes, and just create that. It's such a good feeling when you can create
Create
a
a
good meal. Like
space.
from experience, because sometimes, guys, I be rushing my meals. Like, in the evening, like, oh, because I'm so, rushed to get to the task for that night. Because again, still working.
Mm,
So I try to just make sure
mhm.
I'm taking time to cook with actual love, because you can tell when your food is cooked with love and when it's not. Like I feel like, especially in these restaurants today, you can always tell when your food is cooked with love. So definitely want to make sure that you're, like Michelle would have said, taking vacation. I'm about to take a vacation. I cannot wait for this said vacation, because let me tell you, I'm just going to be a whole different person. Okay. And that just let
I'm
you
so
rejuvenate yourself.
You do. And one of the things that I've realized is that I always need a vacation from my
But
vacation
that too,
because
but
that,
that's a whole other conversation.
but one of the things that I realize is to really taking a vacation and taking time out to yourself and just being in the moment and being with family, being with friends, however you do decide to take your vacation, taking a vacation and taking time out to enjoy your life is a part of having a work life balance. Even if you may have to work on your vacation, but I think it's just about allotting your time. And I think sometimes for us is what's most important for you in your personal life. My personal life is different from Tanya's. I do believe in vacationing. I plan out in December where what I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do in my next things that I want to see. I love to travel, even if it's so expensive, but at least going to a new place at least once in a year. I think it's
Right.
important. Well, this is for me, it helps me feel fulfilled and it makes me feel like I have some sort of balance in my life where I'm taking time out to do something for me. Another thing that I do sometimes, and you can do sometimes on a weekend, if I'm really exhausted, I stock up on food on the
Mm-hmm.
Friday. I in bad meals, even if I'm supposed to be dieting. I don't care, life is short. And I my bed for the whole weekend. I'm in my apartment locked up, vehicle goes nowhere, food comes to my
Mm-hmm.
door, and basking in my laziness. And that in itself is fulfillment and some sort of balance because my phone is off. I will put my phone on airplane mode. I don't want to speak to anybody. And I'm just basking in watching Netflix and binging
Mm-hmm.
on things and that itself for me is sometimes work
Yeah, yeah,
balance.
and it makes you feel good, because the other day I remember I stayed in bed all day and I watched binge the show on Netflix. Literally watched the entire season, and it felt good. I ate good. So sometimes, definitely, I didn't even think about work. Work was not on my mind, because I think
Exactly.
sometimes but it takes practice, guys. So definitely want to make sure again you're finding something outside of work, whether it may be a vacation or some kind of activity. Go for a hike, on the weekend, because we know in the week, depending on what kind of schedule you have, because many people may have jobs where they work on the weekend. It just depends on your schedule, but when you have an off day or an opportunity
Yeah.
to have an off day, go out in nature. They say, nature sometimes it revitalizes you and makes you just have a new perspective on life sometimes, as simple as it may sound or seem,
Yeah.
it does help.
Yeah.
And one of the
Yeah.
things that I was reading here as we get ready to wrap up, it talks about mindfulness. Again, Michelle and I would have mentioned about journaling. Again, when I mentioned mindfulness, it's not all about journaling too, but I think for me that's a big thing for me when it comes to being mindful of,
Hmm.
let me reflect. Well, how could I have done better today? How could I have done better this week? What are some steps I'm going to take to implement more positivity in my life or to create again, we keep using the word balance, but we are talking about balance. But how can I create again the boundaries so that I can set or find the balance as it relates to work, life as a
Yeah.
daughter, a sister, aunt, these different things, but also for yourself. Because I think sometimes we tend to lose who we are or we become so consumed with our
Yeah.
work life that we forgot about, oh wow, it's more than that. So definitely want to make sure you're reflecting. I am going to encourage and push you guys to start journaling. Try to find 10 minutes, even five, even 5 minutes. You can find 5 minutes to journal and just to put your feelings on paper or even to put, so you know what? Because again, as you write, sometimes you manifest and we don't even realize that. Like the words we speak and the things that we
Yeah.
write can end up be a manifestation of whatever it is that we may want without realizing that. So definitely try to take some time to journal for yourself. As Michelle would have mentioned, you're going to go on a vacation if possible. Get out in nature. When you're at work, guys, those of you who have, the nurses, the doctors, whatever other 9 to 5 you may have, the accountants, these different things. When it's lunchtime, it's lunchtime. Nobody should be calling you. If you have a work phone, you leave that phone in the office and, I'm on lunch. Like, that's how you also create boundaries
Yeah.
with your employer too. Because what? Why am I on lunch and you're still calling me? No, respect my boundary, respect my space. So definitely practice mindfulness. And I'm going to say to journal, you can meditate, read something, I guess a self-help book, something that's going to pour into you. Because sometimes we pour into others so many times that we forget to pour into
We're not.
ourselves. So definitely want to practice something as it relates to mindfulness. Take a vacation when you can.
Yeah.
You racking up those PTO hours. Go somewhere or just take time off from going to the office and having to
Hmm.
work every day. Oh, wow. What does we say, Michelle? Take a vacation, practice mindfulness, definitely take your
We
lunch, stop
stop
procrastinating, even
procrastinating.
trying to set aside, probably working time blocks. Of course, if you have a 9 to 5, you can't, it's possible. It depends on how your work is. Plan ahead. We did
Because
mention that was a big thing. Plan ahead. It could be the night before or when you get into the office, you write on your sticky notes, your notepad, whatever, what you're going to do, let's say for the first half of the day. That's what I do. And, you'll be surprised how effective it can be. Again, everybody's idea of work and life balance is different, but this is what me and Michelle are sharing some ways that we would have implemented. None of us are
yeah,
perfect. You
no
may
one knows.
resonate, you may not, or you may find some tips. And if you have tips that you can share with us, something that you've had down pat that you are a pro at now as it relates to finding that work life balance, just send it to us. Leave a review, comment so we can know, okay, you know what, let's take what you're saying and implement it into our lives because at the end of the day, we're all here to help each other. We all need some balance. 'Cause like Michelle would have said, life is too short. We definitely, we're going to work all
Life
these time, but we still got to make sure that we're pouring into ourselves so that we can also, feel nurtured and just empowered.
also pour into the things that we
Mm-hmm.
want to do in our lives. Pour your business, pour into your
Yep.
relationship. Having some sort of balance in your life, working towards having some sort of balance in your life, it can never be a
Mm-hmm.
disadvantage to you. It will always improve certain aspects of your life. I found myself being more balanced in work rather than balanced in my
Mm.
personal life. So I decided to be balanced in both
Right.
areas. And it's a work in progress. Anything that you're trying to do to make your life better, it's never, oh, I'm going to do this and this is it. There are always going to be days. There are days when I do not have work
Mm-hmm.
life balance. But when I see, that's where the
Yes.
mindfulness comes in to say, let's take a step back. Tomorrow, we're going to get back on track. And I think that that's most important when you are balancing or when you are, how do I put it, trekking
Yeah,
through
and
life.
also keep in mind that it doesn't happen overnight. It's a continuous
No,
thing.
it's
Let
a
me tell you. I think that's what I heard. That's what the imposter is. It's a continuous thing when you're trying to find balances wherever you are. It's gonna always be continuous. We're not. There's no one size fit all. So what may work for Michele may not work for me. What may work for us may not work for you guys listening here. But the key is to make sure that, again, you extend grace, but you also keep on working towards finding whatever balance may mean to you. We have shared what balance means to us, but for you, balance may mean something else. Balance may mean, you know what, getting to work early, getting home,
On time.
put on the TV, and that's it. And that's okay. I need for us to understand that whatever balance looks like to you, no, these people out here telling you, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And they may be onto something, but at the end of the day, it's an individual process.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's your life. I think sometimes you can take our advice, but our advice, like Tanya indicated earlier, it may not fit into what your lifestyle is. And that's where sometimes I think a lot of times we try to mimic what's said to us and not look at it from a standpoint of, hey, my life requires a little tweaking of this advice. And I think that's where you have to sit down and tweak the information that is received, listening to, and to make it work in your life. Because we all have different lives. Our days are different. Our weekends are different. So yeah, so that would be my last
Well, guys,
tidbit.
on that note, I mean, how else, what kind of comeback can I have here? I can't, definitely just think, again, we spoke about mindfulness. Be careful and be mindful of the messages that you're receiving from people out there. You have to watch who the messenger is. Not every message that is being sent is to be received.
And that's for a whole nother day, because I could get into. We should do a podcast on that.
I have no issues having you back here, honey. Definitely, we will be coming on to talk about that for sure. We have to be mindful of who we're sending. We'll be back, guys. You heard it here. She says she'll be back on this podcast. Okay, so definitely, if she's taking too long, hop into her DMs, hop into my DMs, ask her when she come back on the Tea with Tanya podcast. But definitely, guys, be mindful of the message that you're receiving from others, and just, again, work-life balance is how or what you make it, not what we are saying even here. I'm sure you can resonate, but definitely it comes down to what you want or how does it look to you. All right, Miss Michele, let the people know, guys, where they can find you, where they can find you on your YouTube, or to subscribe, all that jazz.
All right, guys. So thank you so much, Tanya, for having me again here. I hope I get to come back soon. I would really love to discuss that last little tidbit where we kind of talked about listening to everything and how to approach that. I would really love to do that, and any other topics that you guys think that I would be a good fit to be on Tanya's podcast. Tanya is my friend. She knows I'm here for her. So anytime she needs me, I will avail myself. And for those of you who are listening and don't know who I am or not subscribed to my channel, you can catch me on Instagram at officially Michele with 1 L. You can also catch me on YouTube at officially Michele with 1 L. Those are the only two platforms where I am most active. And if you have any video suggestions as well for me, please just send me a DM. I am open. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. And I hope I get called back to do another podcast. This is a very interesting topic, and I think it's a very good topic, and it's things that we really should consider in, just really making sure that we as young people, we are the future and we want to be the future. And without that, with all of the things that happen in life, sometimes life gets overwhelmed and stress brings on a lot of illnesses, and we want to be here, and with having some balance in our lives, I think that would help us last a little longer on God's earth. Grace as well. So that's it for me, and thank you guys so much for listening, and hopefully I get to come back and talk to you guys.
Hopefully, yes, you will be back. So definitely I want to thank you for always taking the time. Whenever I say, hey, Michele, you want to do this podcast? She has never not once said no, guys. She'll probably give her suggestion, and of course, we collaborate to ensure that we're giving you guys quality content. So definitely want to thank you, Michele, for being on, looking like a beautiful queen in front of me here on this screen. But definitely want to thank you. And of course, I will be having you back. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a review, and of course, share this podcast. When you hear this, tell a friend to tell a friend. And definitely, I'll see you guys back in the tea tasting room next week. I'm your host, Tanya, and you're listening to the Tea with Tanya podcast. See you guys soon.